A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant move on Tuesday, June 10, 2025, Britain, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and Norway have imposed sanctions on two prominent Israeli ministers, Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich and National Security Minister Itamar Gvir. These sanctions come in response to the ministers' repeated incitements of violence against Palestinians, particularly in the context of the ongoing Gaza conflict. The decision marks a notable shift in international relations and raises questions about the future of Israel's diplomatic ties with these nations. The joint statement, announced by Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong, condemned the extremist rhetoric of both ministers, citing their advocacy for the forced displacement of Palestinians and the expansion of Israeli settlements as appalling and dangerous. Wong emphasized that these actions are not acceptable and highlighted the need for accountability in the face of serious human rights violations. Gvir, a member of the far-right Jewish Power Party, has a controversial history, having been convicted of supporting a Jewish terrorist organization. He has openly called for the expulsion of Palestinians from their lands and has made inflammatory remarks regarding the situation in Gaza. Smotrich, leading the religious Zionism party, has similarly been vocal about his extreme views, including a recent statement suggesting that not a single grain of wheat should enter Gaza, advocating for the area's complete destruction. The sanctions, which include travel bans and financial restrictions, took effect immediately and are seen as a coordinated effort to hold these individuals accountable for their actions. The UK government underscored that these measures are targeted at individuals undermining Israel's security and standing in the world, despite their ongoing support for Israel's right to defend itself against terrorism, particularly in light of the Hamas attacks on October 7. The Israeli government's response has been one of outrage, with Foreign Minister Gideon Sar labeling the sanctions as unacceptable. He announced that a special government meeting would be convened to determine the appropriate course of action in response to this international condemnation. Critics of the Israeli ministers argue that the sanctions are long overdue and reflect the growing isolation of Israel on the global stage due to its actions in Gaza and the West Bank. The International Criminal Court has also issued arrest warrants for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other senior officials over alleged war crimes, further complicating Israel's international relations. The sanctions are part of a broader trend of increasing scrutiny over Israel's policies in the occupied territories, where there has been a significant rise in violence against Palestinians. Reports indicate that extremist Jewish settlers have committed nearly 1,900 acts of violence against Palestinians since January of the previous year, and the Netanyahu government has approved a record number of new settlements, all of which are deemed illegal under international law. As tensions continue to rise, the joint statement from the five countries emphasized that while these sanctions relate to the West Bank, they cannot be viewed in isolation from the humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in Gaza. The international community is watching closely, and the actions taken by these nations may serve as a turning point in how Israel is perceived globally. In conclusion, the sanctions against Smotrich and Gvir signal a significant shift in international policy towards Israel, reflecting a growing consensus among several countries that strong measures are necessary to address human rights violations and promote peace in the region. The implications of these sanctions could reverberate through diplomatic channels and may alter the dynamics of Israel's coalition government, particularly as Netanyahu seeks to maintain a fragile alliance with far-right elements within his administration. As the situation evolves, the world will be watching how both Israel and the international community respond to these developments. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.